What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, your number station for anything and everything animation, including TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome back to the A-MAY-Zing world of Gumball. We are up to episodes 29 and 30. Yes, we are very, very close to the end of this marathon, so let's just keep on pushing. Next up is the wand. In this episode, Gumball and Darwin get a plastic wand as a reward from their cereal box. But they quickly find out, that it's fake. But as soon as Richard sees the wand, he thinks it's magic, and then he regales a story about finding out that magic isn't real, or at least so he thought. And apparently, he kept his trauma all the way through to marrying Nicole, which is when he finally stopped yelling. Okay, random, but okay. So Gumball and Darwin decide to spend the rest of the episode helping Richard believe in magic again by granting all the wishes that he makes with the wand. And quickly things spiral out of control, and he thinks he has too much power, and Gumball and Darwin try to stop him. But at the same time, they also have to keep granting wishes. It's a really funny, really entertaining episode. I really enjoy this one. I just wish I had a little bit more to say about it, but it's a simple, wholesome little episode. I do have 3 highlights though, so let's get to those. First up is Gumball and Darwin granting a wish too early. At one point, it sounds like Richard wishes for a monster truck. So Gumball and Darwin bring a monster truck into the living room. And then Richard finishes speaking, and he says, "T-shirt, a monster truck t-shirt." Which means that Gumball had to back the giant monster truck out of the entire house just to get him the t-shirt and fulfill the actual wish. I don't know why, but that one had me laughing. It's a pretty good joke. The second one, "I wish your wife's head was a melon." This is one of Richard's quotes when he's having a moment of magic against Mr. Robinson and his wife. And Gumball and Darwin have to keep granting wishes, so they help Richard just straight up humiliate both of them. And after Richard says this line, they toss a melon right at Miss Watterson's head and, pretty much cover her head in the melon. And it gets the Robertsons, sorry, wrong franchise. The Robertsons to believe that the magic is real and run out in panic. It's random, but for some reason just that one line alone had me dying for a few minutes. It's pretty funny. And speaking of funny, the highlight is the whole final conflict of the episode where Gumball and Darwin proclaim to Richard that they have to take the wand back because he's become evil by its power. And they try to get the wand back, but they have to keep granting wishes, so they have to keep constantly doing what Richard wishes while also trying to get the wand back at the same time. And they get super creative with this. Like, I can't even begin to describe everything to you that happens in this one scene. You just have to see it. It is comedy gold. It's so funny. And then it ends with them finally telling him what happened, and Richard does feel flattered that his sons went that far just to help him believe in magic, but then he has the realization that magic isn't real and goes back to yelling as the episode ends. As Mr. Robinson then gets the plastic wand, which apparently was tossed over the fence, and he makes a snide remark about his wife, and then he immediately says, "I wish I could unsay that." This episode's great. Like, it's simple, it's very predictable, and it's probably not going to be everyone's favorite for obvious reasons, but I quite enjoy this one. It's wholesome, it's sweet, and it's really funny. Final verdict is an 8 out of 10. Alright, now let's move on to an episode that's not quite as good, with the ape. While I had a decent bit to say about the wand, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the ape. It's a decent episode, but It's not one I'm really going to come back to very often. So, after being told by Rocky that in order to win the favorite teacher award, that someone has to actually like her, Miss Simeon then tries to befriend Gumball and Darwin and their family in order to trick him into signing a form to get her that trophy. And of course, Nicole, having been bullied by Miss Simeon in her childhood and even through her adulthood, is obviously hesitant about it, but later, even she ends up getting won over, only for it to all go sideways. And as soon as Nicole finds out that Miss Simeon called her family what she called her in her childhood to bully her, losers, uh, she immediately snaps, chases her down the road, runs her off the road, and despite being horribly maimed in a fiery accident, Miss Simeon gets the award anyway. And the episode ends with some weird, cringy dad joke puns from Richard. That's pretty much the entire episode. Now, I do have two highlights, which keeps it from being, average. But I can't really call it that good either. It's very slow, it's very stagnant, and it is extremely predictable because we've seen this plot before 1,000 times in 1,000 other shows. So, here are the highlights. First one is a Richard quote, as Miss Simeon is guilt tripping them by slowly walking out the door after Nicole tells her off. And everyone starts getting sad and feeling bad for her because she's obviously guilt tripping them. And right before she goes out the door, Richard says, "I don't know why, but I'm crying." It's so random, but it's so funny. And then my other highlight is Nicole crashing out again. Her crashing out has been a constant highlight throughout this entire show up to this point. So her crashing out again is of course another highlight. This time chasing Miss Simeon off the road in a pretty fun high-octane car chase. Again, this show is so good with chase scenes, it's almost unfair. But outside of that, it's fine. I'm not really a big fan of Miss Simeon anyway, so I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other about this episode. But the two highlights managed to boost it up just enough to be a 6 out of 10 for the final verdict. It's a decent episode, but it's not one I'm really gonna want to come back to or really recall when talking about greatest Gumball episodes. Maybe that's just me. Maybe some people like this one more than me. I don't know. But regardless, that is going to end this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. And of course, feel free to hit the hype button down below to get this higher up in the algorithm if you so desire. And of course, feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time when we get closer and closer to finishing off our first ever Amazing World of Gumball marathon with The Car and The Curse. Peace.